welcome. This video is going to be a yoga class for the third trimester, especially if you've been experiencing back pain, which, to be honest, I don't think I've ever met a pregnant woman yet who said her back was perfect throughout pregnancy. Obviously, we're carrying a lot of extra weight. Everything is loosening up, so the hips and the pelvis are not as stable as they used to be. So I've made a couple of other videos on specific conditions around the hips. So whether you're experiencing SPD or SI pain, I'll leave those links below if you want to check out some really specific information about that. You will notice in this video, I am wearing a support belt. I highly recommend wearing these, even if you don't have those conditions with the hips. It really helps to just kind of give your body a little bit of a break. I wouldn't wear it all the time because your muscles still do need to have that strength to hold the belly. But when you're doing specific exercises, it can be really helpful, or even if you're doing some housework around the house, just to give your body a little bit of a break. So this specific one is a smiley belt, and it can be worn two ways. So there's the thicker part, which can come around the back, which I always liked because my issues were always SI issues at the back. But some of you may also like to turn it around so that the support comes up over the belly. So highly recommend. I'll leave the link to this belt below if you want to check it out. Otherwise, let's get into this class. I don't want to ramble too much, which I always tend to do at the start of my videos. I'm sorry. But yeah, we'll keep it nice and gentle. I have designed it for the third trimester with a big belly in mind, but of course, if you are in any of the other trimesters, you're welcome to practice along with us as well. All right, let's get going. So we're just going to start in our tabletop. We're just going to go from here, inhale. And then as you exhale, round the back, look towards the thighs, press into the hands. And then come back to that flat back, inhale. And then exhale, gently tilting the pelvis under, looking back towards the thighs. One more of these, inhale. And exhale. And then gently take a seat back towards the heels. Take the knees nice and wide. Now for third trimester, I always recommend using lots of props. So if you have a bolster or some cushions that you can bring under the chest, that helps to just make a little bit more space for the belly. I just want you to find your way here. So you could bring the knees in a little bit closer if you still had the space and it feels good. And then just let the hips soften. Breathe into the belly, let it be nice and soft. Then as you inhale, just slowly come up, push the bolster out the way for the moment. Come back to your tabletop, rolling the tailbone under and then lifting the tailbone up. So keep it nice and gentle, remembering that this sort of arching position is one that your back is in quite often. So we want to go nice and gentle because we don't want to overwork this sort of position, given that the body is there most of the day holding the weight of the belly. So just kind of releasing any tension here. See if you can keep that breath flowing in and out through the nose. And then take the right leg back behind you and just press into the ball of the foot. Press into the heel, getting a nice calf stretch. So for some of us, our back pain is related to really tight legs. So if you are still on your feet a lot at this stage of your pregnancy, you might find that your hamstring tension, if you haven't done any stretching out, is actually coming up the back. And then release that right knee down, rock to the other side, take the left heel out behind you, gently pressing in. And then bring the knee back down. We need to tuck the toes under. We're going to make our way back to a forward fold. And we're going to roll up really slowly. So walk the hands back, shift the weight onto the toes. As you start to lift the hips and just find a forward fold here.
So make the feet nice and wide so you've got space for the belly, and just really gently rock from side to side. Then bring the hands onto the shins. Let's lengthen the back out. Inhale, so again, getting that nice stretch through the hamstrings. And then gently fold back in. We're going to do a couple of these, working with the breath. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale and fold. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and fold. One more, inhale. And exhale. And then slowly walk those hands all the way up. Roll the shoulders back and down. Let's do this a couple of times just because it feels nice. And then we're going to come onto the wall, and just like when we were in our cat-cow and we did those pelvic tilts back and forwards, we're going to do that on the wall. So keep a bend through the knees. Draw the shoulders back into the wall. And you'll notice you've got this bit of an arch. So I want you to just gently tuck the pelvis under so that you can press the back flat on the wall. I just want you to breathe into this length. So you should feel a little bit more length through the lower back. So you can keep the heart open by opening the shoulders. So we often end up kind of hunched over our belly. It's like a protective mode. So you can keep this space nice and open. So the knees aren't too bent. We're not doing too much work through the legs. That's not our focus. That's another class. That's our yoga for birth. If you want to check that one out. Our focus is really just relieving any tension through the back. All right, let's take a stand all the way up. I want you to inhale the arms to the sky. Let's relieve some tension through the side body. Hold on to one wrist. Draw it over. And then all the way back through center, hold the wrist. Beautiful. And then inhale, come back to center. I'm going to use that wall again. So I'm going to use a different one this time so you can see a little bit better. We're going to bring the hands about hip height on the wall. Walk the feet back. This is a down dog against the wall. So it's a really nice way to do down dog when you're pregnant. It doesn't put too much pressure on your heart, having to pump blood around the body. It doesn't make you feel dizzy if you've got low blood pressure. Just keep pressing those hands into the wall. So you could have the knees quite bent if your hamstrings are quite tight. Otherwise, just gently straighten them out. Let the belly be soft. Let the shoulders be soft. As you inhale, bend into those knees so that you can walk the hands up slightly. Walk the feet back in. Leave the left foot forward. Step the right foot back so the feet are kind of on train tracks. They're not in one line. That will give you better balance. And then just bring the hands back to the wall. So this is a pyramid pose with the hands on the wall. So keep that front leg as straight as you can, just bending forward until you can feel that stretch through that front hamstring. So again, we focus on stretching out through the legs so that the back can release its tension. See if you can stay soft through the shoulders and just taking a few deep breaths here. Gently step that right foot back in, step the left foot back. So again, take a breath in, lift the chest, square the hips off, and then gently fold. And then next inhale, step that left foot back in. So this next one is going to be a pigeon against the wall. If you've got SPD or SI, as this is a hip opener, you might want to avoid this one. If you don't have any pelvic issues and it is just the low back that's aching and sore, this one will feel okay. So just take the right ankle across the left knee. I'll do it front ways just so that you can see. So we're kind of making this position.
But we're using the wall for support because once you're in third trimester, you don't have too much balance going on. Bend back into that left knee. Keep the hands on the wall and see if you can come nice and low so that you can feel it in this right hip. Again, keep the shoulders soft, keep the neck soft. Keep breathing into that belly. And then just gently straighten back up. We'll change the legs. So left ankle across the right and then bend back in. Slowly come to rise. I'm going to come all the way back down onto the ground now using this bolster. So we're just going to come to straddle the bolster. So bring the knees in so they're kind of hugging on so that the inner thighs are working. And we're just going to take a really easy twist. So if you need to, let the pelvis move as much as it needs to feel good in your body. So I would often find if I tried to keep the pelvis and just twist the upper half, it really hurt through my hips. So feel free to move, make space in your body. Keep pressing down through the sit bones, lifting the chest tall. And then release, let's come the opposite way. And then slowly all the way back to the front. So stay up on that bolster. Let's do a bit of a seated leg stretch here. Take the legs out in front of you. So you might want to take them a little bit wide to make a bit of space. Inhale the arms up. And this might be enough. So with being up on the bolster and drawing the toes back towards you, you mightn't need to go any further. If you do, you could just bring the hands down to the knees. Little bit of a tilt forward. And just stay here, enjoying that stretch through the legs. And then finally, sitting back up, bringing the feet in. I want you to just sit now however is comfortable for you. So with the legs, they could be outstretched. If that's better, you could come back to that straddle. You could even find a chair if that's better. Just bring the hands to the belly. Roll the shoulders back and down. Close down the eyes. On the inhale, I want you to imagine, on the inhale, fill the belly up. So feel the skin around your baby tightening. And on the exhale, let the belly completely soften. Inhale. And exhale. I want you to add in now contraction of the pelvic floor. So just an awareness. Now try not to think about like squeezing that muscle tight. I want you to think about lifting it in and up. So the pelvic floor muscles hang from the pelvis. And I want you to think about lifting them in and up. So just with the breath, when you feel comfortable, you might inhale, engage the pelvic floor muscles. As you exhale, hold them on. So keep lifting in and up. Inhale, keep them held, and then on exhale, I want you to imagine them really gently softening. So at this point in your pregnancy, especially after 30 weeks, we really want to know how to relax them because some women go into birth with pelvic floors that are too tight. And that's the opposite, obviously, of what you want to do in order to have a baby. So whilst I am encouraging you to lift up, if you are really late stages of third trimester, you might be focusing more on that relaxing. But sometimes we need to lift to be like, okay, yep, that's where the muscle is. and then exhale to really soften in and let go. Let's practice that a couple more times with the breath. So just in your own time, finding those muscles, lifting them in and up, and then a really long exhale and let them go. And you're ready to just flutter the eyes open. Let's take a little bit of a stretch here. Oh, just to wake the body back up. I hope your back is feeling a little bit better after that little practice. If you're looking for more yoga classes like this, you might want to check out my online yoga circle. So that's my membership where I put all of my energy and time into creating classes like this, often longer. I'm also there for support if you ever want a class created just for you. Also within there, you'll find yoga for birth. So in this third trimester, you're probably starting to think about birth. I highly recommend doing some yoga practices that incorporate yoga tools that can specifically be used during birth. So things like breath, mindset, movements to really support you during labor and birth. Best of luck on your journey towards giving birth to this beautiful baby of yours. Please check back in once he or she arrives. And thank you again for practicing with me. Namaste.